Alright, guys. Welcome back to another reaction video. This is the title. It's gonna be another special one. By a special one, me like we gonna react to a new channel too. One of you guys, which let me take my time looking for you. Let's start. If I go click here, you guys are here. Emmy Lee say to me, please react to SCP-016 Sentient Micro-Organism by Dr. Bob. Just in case I'm covering, let me just best edit on YouTube. Alright. Right here, as you see. And I was like, you know what? Alright, I'll react to it. And there's also other people that told me to react to all the SCP content, especially forgot who. Those one who say react to the top 10 strongest SCP by Chuck. I am gonna get to that. Just give me a little bit time to react to it. But want me a little bit. It's almost 30 minutes, so I had to make like 2 parts. So when the day comes, I'll react to it. So don't worry, that's coming out soon. But for now, we are going to do this. It's gonna be a new channel for me. I read down the description and everything. Even maybe I won't get copyrighted, or this guy doesn't give a copyright or something like that. In the comment description section. Frame, please stop starting. So yeah, I found out this guy loved the rubber. He got his inspiration from the rubber. That's why I got it from. So it's gonna be almost the same art style word. That's gonna be fire. It's gonna be his own animation in the way and all that. I just want to see how he does it. You guys already know. Let me just put myself over here. You guys already know. Best edit on YouTube. And let's get started. Alright. Oh yeah, the original video in the description. Please go check him out. Give him a subscriber, so I'll be happy to at least give him 1 more subscriber. Let's keep it going. Which, you know, I need 2 more. Alright, Fave. Let's go. You guys don't know, I don't have a script. I do it from the head. Straight on from the head.
The doctor frantically writes in his journal. It's almost impossible to believe everything that's transpired has taken place in such a short amount of time. It all began 3 days ago.
So far, I like it already.
It was just another day down in the mines. A worker was drilling into a seam of coal when suddenly there was an issue with the rig. From what I've gathered, it sounds like the drill bit exploded due to some kind of mechanical defect, sending shards of metal flying throughout the tunnel.
That's tough.
The worker was lucky
like in real life, that could happen, so that's tough. So, you know, you have to be careful if you do go up and be construction or something.
One of the large pieces struck him, as they surely would have been fatal. He had, though, still been grazed by a piece of shrapnel from the ruined drill bit, and it had left a deep cut across his upper arm. Other miners who were working nearby heard the commotion and quickly came to his aid.
This is when SCP-016 will come in.
Blood and helped him to the mine shaft elevator for the long ride to the surface. Once they reached the safety of daylight, they brought the injured man to the on-site medical clinic, where I was on duty at the time. I cleaned the wound since there was a substantial amount of coal dust that had gotten inside, before suturing and bandaging it. The miner was sent to his bunkhouse to recover, and I thought that would be the end of it. Of course, it was only the beginning. Damn, no way, you got a disease on him now. Let's stop. I'm guessing that's what the SCP-016 gonna come in. The microorganism. You know what? But when I see micro, it has to be something small. So I had to detach into himself or something at some point. It's my hypothesis. 24 hours later, the same miner presented himself to me once again. I asked about his injury, and he explained that while his arm was fine, he now felt like he might be coming down with an illness. His symptoms included a runny nose, a cough, and body aches. So my assumption was that he'd simply had some bad luck and caught a cold that just so happened to coincide with being injured on the job. I sent him to his bunk once again, telling him that he wouldn't be able to work, and should instead use the day to rest and recover. The next day, I was once again in the clinic when my phone rang. It wasn't the sick miner, but instead his supervisor. The miner hadn't shown up for his shift that morning, and he asked for me to go check on him since he knew he hadn't been feeling well. I agreed that it was strange that neither of us had heard anything else from the miner and went to see him straight away. You're going to see some stuff. Let's see. The workers stay while I'm telling you, he's gonna be evolving. He's gonna be like Pokemon evolved, bro. The second evolution, it's gonna be different. He's either gonna be dead, or he's gonna either be dead, or he's gonna be either be dead. Let's see. It has to be one of those. Oh, I meant to stop. It was empty, except for the injured miner who was still in his bed. Okay. As I approached, I could immediately tell something was very wrong. I was wrong. The man was curled up in the fetal position, and was sweating profusely while also shivering. A quick touch of his forehead revealed that the man had a high fever, too. He was practically incoherent, seemingly delirious from his high temperature.
Oh, we're getting an ad, yo. You see guys? You see this? Look how I'm like really into it. Like it's fire. I like this. But just so you know, if it's not my ad, we gonna if it's not my ad or get paid at least a single penny, I'm not gonna show the other volume. You gonna skip it. But remember, guys, if you ever get one my ad, watch the whole thing. Thank you for the support. And yeah, remember, I'm doing this for free right now, so there should be no ad yet. Alright.
I was moved to the empty bed inside the clinic so I could better observe and tend to him. But very carefully, since I assumed now that he was actually suffering from influenza and didn't want to risk an outbreak at the mine. I was getting ready to administer fluids to the miner, who was still mumbling incomprehensibly, when I noticed something on his face. It appeared that he was crying, but the tears that ran down his cheeks were made of water. They were blood. I hadn't seen anything like it before. There was no reason why influenza should be causing this man to cry tears of blood.
Though.
I could see the veins in his forehead starting to pulse, as if his blood pressure had suddenly skyrocketed.
At that point, the most humane thing to do, yes, on time, but the most humane thing, not style, but like, wow. He probably doesn't know anything about SCPs and all that, so I'm just saying, if I was there and I was him, like say the doctor or something like that, and I knew about SCP, let's say I was one of the foundation, then the most humane thing to do.
Skyrocketed. And just as I was leaning in to get a closer look, something horrible happened. The miner suddenly opened his mouth and expelled an enormous stream of blood. The blast of blood struck me in the face and knocked me backwards in fright as the man continued expelling more and more blood from his mouth. Which...
I'm telling you, the most humane thing to do right now. You may have to take out the thing, you know what I mean? The thing, the glizzy. Oh man, well, obviously I'll lock everything down here if I was him. Yeah, if there's no weapons or nothing. But I'm just saying. Woo, man. And you remember, this is all catch up. As you see, no human or something. You're not gonna see something like that, YouTube. These are mannequins moved by, like, you know, modeling, you know, animation with catch up, okay? I don't want to get, you know, community guideline strike.
The man then went limp. I attempted to resuscitate him, but strangely, there was no need. The man was comatose, but he was alive. There I was, standing in the middle of the clinic over the man, both he, myself, as well as the room completely covered in blood.
And then you have,
It was one of the worst things I'd ever experienced as a doctor. And yet, somehow, it was about to get even worse. I was still in shock from what had just happened when I heard the door to the clinic open behind me. I turned around to see a group of half a dozen more.
Oh, hell nah. At that point, I'm telling you, I would have taken my, like, here. I'm out with here. I would throw in the floor. Yo, hell nah. Alright. Alright, let me, my thing what I'll do. The most thing, like, the thing that you gotta do, there's two options. Option one, call them for backup or something, you know what I mean? If you say something like this, blah, 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 one of the foundation member is probably going to hear it, but, you know, I don't know the foundation member, so I'm going to be calling in, you know, saying this, like, you know, a hospital or a government thingy, and they will know, okay? Or two, the most humane thing to do is take out the thing. I'm not sorry.
More miners from the side, each one coughing, sweating, and shivering. One held a cloth to his ear that was stained red.
Which means, if all of them have it, it's contagious. Well, I'm guessing you had to, like, they all had to be, like, you know, grazed or something like that. That's how it happened for the first one. He had a big cut, so I'm guessing it has to do, like, that SCP going inside of you.
While another attempted to stop his nose from bleeding. Whatever had infected the first patient wasn't a one-off medical event. This had the makings of an epidemic.
Yep.
I knew that I was in way over my head. I was just a general practitioner, not an infectious disease specialist. And I called the Center for Disease Control to get their guidance.
There you go.
I was told to quarantine the sick man as best I could, and that a rapid response team would be sent who were better equipped to deal with potential outbreaks.
Yo, this is so good. I'm sorry. I love finding new channels with their own, you know, unique animation, their own way telling, you know, SCP. This guy is telling the SCP like a whole story. Not information-wise, a whole story, and you have to find out what it does. Fire. God, I'm telling you, go subscribe to him. Original video in the description. Go check it out. I love supporting these people.
While I waited for the CDC to arrive, I began moving the afflicted men to a bunkhouse that had been designated for quarantining. Several more also began expelling huge amounts of blood. Unlike the first patient, none of the others survived the traumatic event.
Okay.
As I was putting the final infected man into a bed, I noticed something, though. There was a huge amount of heat radiating off of his lower body.
Let me get, that's what it's caught.
Down the blankets, I discovered something that even with all of the strange happenings, I still couldn't believe.
Never mind. Okay.
There were huge lumps growing on his legs.
I'll stop pausing. I'll stop. I'm sorry. Like, but remember, guys, you guys came in for me to react. See, like, what my reaction will be to this video. If you guys want to see no pausing or nothing, original video in the description. That'll be even better. You're gonna be supporting the guy more.
Be filled with some kind of fluid or gas, and they were extremely hot to the touch, as if the chemicals inside the lumps were creating a source of heat. As I was investigating the bizarre growths, I suddenly looked up to see that the man was no longer in a state of delirium. Instead, a crazed look had come over his eyes, and he suddenly leapt out of bed, flailing and clawing at me as if he wanted to kill me. I don't know how, but I was able to fight off the man and run out of the bunkhouse. He gave chase, though, and with no other option, he ran into a nearby storage shed. The man was beating and scratching at the door, but I was able to barricade it by dragging a heavy shelf in front of it. After several minutes of trying to break inside, he finally gave up and left. And here I remain. I'm too afraid to go back out. It seems that if the disease won't kill me, then whatever it is turning people into will. All I can do is wait for the CDC team to get here and hopefully know how to deal with whatever the situation has become. The doctor closes his small notebook and notices a drop of something fall onto the cover.
Is that him?
He reaches up and wipes his hand across his mouth. Comes back, covered in blood. The doctor didn't know what the disease was that had so rapidly spread through the workers at the mine.
Let's see. Now this information time. Information time. Let's get it.
When they arrived. No, it wasn't until the SCP Foundation caught word of the mysterious outbreak that someone would finally determine what was happening with what would soon be called SCP-016, which is also known as the Sentient Micro-Organism. SCP-016 is a blood-borne pathogen that was first discovered after a worker at a remote mine was injured while drilling into a coal seam deep beneath the earth. It is theorized that coal dust entered the wound, dust which perhaps carried dormant spores of what would become SCP-016. Over the next several days,
this is why
remaining employees.
This is why, like, you know, areas where, let's say, like, mad dirty or, like, you know, caves. Like, I'm scared. I'm not scared to go a cave, like, you know, get lost. It's a scary thing too. You know what I mean? But like, if I get caught or a bat comes in, scratches me or something, and then like it's over for me with disease. I'm just saying.
Infected, as was the CDC crisis team that was sent to the mine to investigate the outbreak of
just like that,
an undiscovered pathogen. Following the CDC's inability to deal with the disease,
the Foundation,
the SCP Foundation took over the site and quickly terminated all affected personnel to prevent further spread. The first infected person, Patient 0, was taken into Foundation custody for further investigation, and the mine shaft itself was collapsed by an explosive device in order to seal it off. After studying Patient 0, the Foundation learned a great deal about just what they were dealing with. What they found was that SCP-016 has an incubation period that can vary wildly from just 24 hours to as long as 2 years, with the length appearing to be dependent on the number of other potential human hosts in the immediate area. Once symptoms begin to present in an individual, they will at first look to be quite similar to the common cold.
Oh, we're getting all ad. Oh, man. Again, I was not even paying attention. Yeah, man. That's how, I'm getting way into this. You guys already know, though. I might get paid it's at least a single penny, so we'll skip this ad. There we go. I'm mute. Let's go back a tiny bit. All right.
They can include coughing, a runny nose, itchy eyes, and body aches. Roughly 48 hours after the first symptoms, the infected person will experience a form of hemorrhagic fever, similar to the Ebola virus, which causes a small amount of bleeding in the lungs.
Which is scary.
This leads to the infected blood becoming aspirated, most likely in order to better spread through the air. The third stage of the disease leads to the host crashing and bleeding out, as they start to bleed profusely from multiple body orifices, including the nose, tear ducts, mouth, and even the pores of their skin. Their blood pressure will also skyrocket during this final stage, and in some cases, have vomited blood as far as 5 meters. Oddly enough, although most die from the traumatic event, This almost complete exsanguination will not always result in death.
Okay.
Sometimes, following the removal of almost all blood from the body, the patient will somehow survive, and the pathogen inside their body will return to its dormant phase once again, before eventually repeating the process. But SCP-016 is more than just a rapid and often deadly bloodborne disease, as you will soon see. As SCP researchers studied the disease, what they discovered was that it had a very strange property that sets it apart from other hemorrhagic fevers like Ebola and the Marburg virus. What they found was that when someone infected with SCP-016 is placed into a high-stress situation, such as one where their life is being threatened, SCP-016 will transition from rapidly reproducing inside of its host's body to instead begin rewriting their host's actual DNA. This genetic manipulation, combined with the stimulation of rapid cell division, leads to the host undergoing major physiological changes and in extremely small amounts of time. In just 24 hours, the host can begin showing physical changes.
They're evolving! They're evolving! Pokemon evolved, nah. What am I, this SCP is kind of crazy, I'm not lie, kind of scary.
To their body, and a complete bodily reconstruction can occur in less than 2 weeks. Most of the hosts who begin to undergo physical changes will not survive the process, due to how heavily the transformation
that was even worse.
Those that do will be changed in more than just physical ways. They'll exhibit hyper-aggressive behavior, not dissimilar to those infected by rabies. And it's theorized that the pathogen may cause this behavior in order to better spread the virus. When the Foundation realized that SCP-016 was capable of these transformative effects, they immediately undertook a number of experiments on D-Class personnel in order to better understand their full
use the D-Classes
extent. In the first test, a D-Class was infected with SCP-016, and as soon as they began showing symptoms, their cell was slowly flooded with water in order to stimulate the life-threatening situation needed to trigger the transformation process. Over the next 24 hours, researchers watched as the subject appeared to develop gills, which would allow it to survive in the now water-filled cell. The transformations didn't stop there, though. Over the next 2 weeks, the subject also had their limbs change into fins, their eyesight deteriorated, and their sense of hearing increased, as they developed an echolocation ability very similar to the one employed by whales and dolphins. The experiment was concluded by removing all of the water from the cell, leading to the death of the subject from asphyxiation, as they could no longer breathe in the open air. A similar experiment was performed on another D-Class, but this time, instead of taking on aquatic animal properties, the D-Class experienced rapid muscle growth, and their knuckles grew bone-like protrusions. It attempted to use both of these to break through the door of their flooding cell, but they were unable to breach the reinforced steel, and soon died from drowning. The Foundation now knew that the virus could react in different ways to the same situation. The same experiment was run a third time, but in this instance, the infected D-Class exhibited an entirely different means of trying to escape. The subject had a massive growth appear on its chest, which seemed to be fed from 2 different tubes of flesh, also emanating from the subject's body. Fearing what it planned to do, the Foundation ended the experiment early and terminated the subject. An autopsy revealed that the growth was actually a hollow chamber that was being fed by the tubes with oxygen and acetylene gas, which when combined in sufficient amounts would cause a massive combustion event. In other words, SCP-016 was turning the subject into a living bomb. Moving on from flooded cell tests, the researchers next left the D-Class inside of a room with no stressing elements, and instead told them to focus on growing a pair of wings. Without any reason to begin the transformation process, SCP-016 went through its normal stages, and the subject died from blood loss without any other changes occurring. In the final test, a D-Class was placed inside of an acrylic box that was suspended over a mine shaft, with a timer attached indicating the time when the bottom of the box would open and drop the D-Class into the 1,000-foot deep shaft. This D-Class was also told to focus on growing wings that would allow them to survive the plunge. The subject began to transform over the next 24 hours, but rather than grow wings, they instead developed a tentacle-like appendage on their arm that was capable of producing silk, similar to a spider's spinneret. They used the silk-producing organ to secure themselves to the box, showing that subjects did not appear to be able to control the way in which SCP-016 would alter their bodies.
It's random, obviously.
This experiment concluded when the timer reached 0, and the bomb attached to it detonated, as had been the plan all along. Following this last test, SCP-016 samples were placed into containment, and access to the sample for experimental purposes.
Yo, I'm sorry if I'm not reacting too much, but like, I'm getting way into this.
Is only allowed with prior authorization from level 4 or 05 personnel.
Man, that's
with
how
full documentation of the proposed experiment required beforehand. Failure to follow any of these procedures
termination,
will lead to the offending personnel being reassigned to D-class duty or terminated.
Never mind, yo, you just shoot me like that. Don't make me a D-class? Yo, what? Yo,
SCP-016 has been classified as Keter, and the only existing sample is kept in a petri dish, which is under extreme lockdown inside of a 5x5 by 5 meter room, where the temperature is kept below 0 degrees Celsius at all times. Should an outbreak of SCP-016 occur, all infected personnel are to be immediately terminated on site. And if the infection cannot be contained,
I'm not even mad. Yeah, they're going to explode the whole thing too.
48 hours, then the on-site nuclear device is to be detonated prior to any additional personnel being evacuated. While the containment procedures may sound callous, unfortunately, when it comes to anomalous pathogens as dangerous as SCP-016, no chances can be taken.
I'm not even mad about that too.
Now go and watch another entry from the files of Dr. Bob, like SCP-150.
That was good. That was good. I'm actually, I'm happy that you guys actually recommended this to me. That was good. Okay, you know what? Let me end the video before I start talking, and make the video like 5 hours long. All right, you guys already know. Guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Go to 5,000 subscribers. I know we can make it there. We're almost halfway there. You guys already know it's because of you guys. You also turn on the bell notification. We want the early game, which means you could be in the comment section first, which brings me to the comment section. Go to making this play. It does not have to be a Roblox video. You go to make video to react to like all these good people that told me to react to these videos. I'm telling you, I will look into every single comment section. You go to make video to react to. Or you could tell me a game to play or something, or tell me how you doing, or something like that. I'm starting so much. But yeah, there's enough of it. It's your boy Flame.